If you're trying to figure out whether LearnWorlds is good for quizzes and assessments, I'm going to show you exactly what this platform does really well, where it may fall short for what you need, and also we'll talk about some of the AI features that will allow you to create your quizzes and assessments faster. My goal is by the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether or not this is the right platform for you for assessments. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about the types of quizzes or assessment that you can create so that you know that what we're talking about here applies to what you want to create. So I'm in the back end right now of a course that I helped implement for one of our clients with all of these learning activities. We set it all up. We did the front end of the site, all of the landing pages and copy and everything. So just to show you, I can show you some examples here. On the back end, you'll see that she has all of her curriculum, and then she has some pre-assessments, post-assessments, and a survey here. So there are different types of assessments you can create. There are ones that you can create on the back end within the curriculum in LearnWorlds like this. And there's also ones that you can create on the front end. So before they even purchase a course, maybe you want to create a quiz or an assessment as a lead magnet, for example. So you can do that as well with LearnWorlds. It would just be considered more of a form that you embed into a landing page rather than what you're seeing here, what I'm about to show you, which is a learning activity within a course curriculum. So I just wanted to make that distinction between the two. So I'll talk about the quiz as a lead magnet side of things a little bit later in this video. Let's first talk about a quiz or assessment as a learning activity, so within the curriculum. And by the way, when we talk about learning activity, it's just basically a lesson within your course. These three learning activity types are where I want to point your attention to. So you have exams, you can create exams, which are graded assessments. The lingo here is kind of confusing, so this is why I'm spelling this out. Depending on what you want to create, you can create graded assessments, which they call exams. So that might be asking them open-ended questions that you want to then review later. It might be asking them multiple choice, true or false. Maybe you want them to submit an assignment as part of a graded exam. So it could be a document that they upload, or a video that they upload, or a voice, an audio. All of this stuff is available to you here. And the cool thing with LearnWorlds is that they have these templates ready to go for you. So they already have the types of exams that you can create with questions already. And when you click on it, you can modify it as however you want, or you can create something completely from scratch with the different types of questions that you want. To show you an example of this assessment that you see here is an actual graded exam. It's an exam learning activity. So when the user clicks on ready to start, and this is what they see on the back end, then right away they'll be asked certain questions, and you can see here it tells them how many questions. This is a multiple choice one that they put together. And when you're creating it, you would assign what the right answer is. So by the end, they'll see a score, or if you don't want them to see a score, that's fine too. Maybe if your exam involves open-ended questions or submitted assignments, then they might not see the score right away because you first as the instructor have to review that. And that's another thing that I like, is that anything that you need to review from an assessment that they fill out all goes into one space. It's called the review center, as you see here, and you can easily see anything that's been unreviewed or ungraded that you need to respond to. And if you have multiple instructors in here, you can give them access to this as well if you're not the one who's grading those assessments. So from here is where you'll easily be able to give feedback. You can also set automatic feedback as well for certain questions. And also from your gradebook area, this is where you can see all of the exams, the student grades and exams, assignments, certifications, you can manage everything right here from one place, which is really nice. So that's exams. Those are graded assessments. Self-assessments are really ones where you're asking the student to assess their own knowledge. It's like it's a reflection on maybe what they just learned, and you want to hear from them, their takeaways. You want to make the course or your program a little bit more interactive in this way so that they're actually invested in answering questions, but it's not graded. It's something that you can review and provide feedback on, but it's not related to any particular score or grade that they get. So you can see here, there are different templates that they offer if you want them to assess their knowledge, write their goals, reflection journal, all this kind of stuff, or just create something from scratch. So these are great for knowledge checks, ungraded knowledge checks, progress tracking, seeing how your students are responding to the curriculum. It's really removing the whole passive learning thing from just sitting and watching a course to actually getting them involved here. So this is nice. The other category is called forms. Now, forms are more so evaluations. They're more so to gather feedback from your students on how they are liking the course, how they are liking the instructor. It's really for you to see the strengths and weaknesses and how people are feeling about the course. So to show you an example, this survey right here, where it says Module 2 survey, this is a form learning activity. So you can see here the student is asked several questions about the content, the instructor, the materials. You can give them a star rating and submit it, and all of that information will be available for you to view. So what LearnWorlds does really well here in terms of assessments as a curriculum, there's so many options available to you. And it's not like you need to think from scratch what to create. They make it really easy in terms of helping you create this with ready-to-go questions, templates, and even the AI features, which I'll talk about in a second. So all of these assessment types are available: quizzes, exams, assignments, surveys, certificates. You can create as well automations in terms of like if they get this score, then they pass, and then you can award them a certificate of completion. You can also create timed assessments or quizzes, build question banks, and even control whether or not they're allowed to retake the assessment. So there's a lot of cool automations involved. And when it comes to creating the assessment, it's pretty cool what you could do, because you can say, like, I'm going to click on here, create activity with AI. You can ask it to create an exam or self-assessment or a form, right? Those categories we just talked about. You can ask them to create that based on the curriculum that's already in here. So you don't even need to come up with the questions yourself. You can, at least as a starting point, see what the AI comes up with for you, and then from there, modify it however you need. So let me show you an example of this really quickly. I'm going to create an exam test, and then when we hit edit, it's going to take me to the builder of where I can build out that assessment. And I'm going to click on AI assistant. So you can see here when I hover over, it's saying, what do you want to do? Create the questions, create multiple choice, true or false, drop downs, what give me a job, it says, right? So I'm going to say, I want a variety of questions. So I'm going to say create questions. And then it's going to ask me a couple of things here. And based on that, it's going to generate. So I'm going to take a couple moments to fill this out, and let's see what it comes up with. So I just finished filling this out, and you can see here, it asked me what type of questions I want, how many of each question, and the difficulty level, tone of voice, what type of questions, what are we assessing, comprehension, evaluation. This is really, really cool. You know, if you don't have an answer to something like that, you can just leave it out. Like for this, evaluate following key terms, I'm just gonna close out of this. For this here, it's asking questionnaires should be based on what, and you can give it some context. I just said, create me something based on this course or this learning activity, but you can also, to give it probably better, more context, is actually writing out what do you want to assess with this assessment. Let me actually change it to paragraph, because I feel like that will give us more context to go on. So I'm going to hit generate, and you can see here what it provides. So what is the primary goal of the online course on challenging behaviors in the classroom? It's providing me with the multiple choice options, and it's also providing me with the correct answer. It's providing feedback, like if someone chooses the correct answer, it's saying this is what's going to show up once they choose the correct answer versus something like this, which is not correct. This is the answer that will show up, and it's doing that for all of these questions, which is really cool. Now, if you like this, you can say insert content and you're ready to go. I usually find that you need to work it a little bit. So what you typically do is hit regenerate, usually maybe 2 or 3 times, and you can go back and fix your input in terms of what you put in the paragraph if you're finding it's not quite there, and then see if it gives you a better output. So I usually have to do maybe like 3-4 rounds before coming up with something that I like and that I'm able to, say, insert content. But you can see here, this saves you a ton of time. You can ask it to create an assessment based on an ebook that is in your curriculum. So it will read the whole ebook and then spit out like, oh, this is a good way to test the knowledge based on what they just read. So it's really helping you repurpose your IP into short form knowledge checks for your students. And that's saving you so many hours. I know, because I would need to create these from scratch for our clients. So it's a huge help. I will say though that you got to use AI more so as a assistant in helping you create this stuff, not as a strategist. So it's not going to be able to really truly understand what is the best strategy for your students. That's what you're inputting into AI. And also, like, if you want to incorporate case studies, real world examples, that's all something that you're going to have to feed it. But at least it gives you a great starting point. And you can also create your own questions here and then have AI improve it or get feedback on it. Like, I can just, highlight this, for example, click on this, and then say, let's rewrite these instructions with a different tone. Let's make it, more catchy. And so it's going to give me a different option here. From here, I can either insert it, regenerate, ask it to expand, or shorten it. So at every little point, AI is here to help you with this. And that's one of the really cool things that I like about LearnWorlds assessments. Their ability to incorporate AI in this process is going to really help save you a lot of time. Now, a couple of other things to be aware of with assessments, just to make sure that it's the right platform for you. If you're looking to create more of like a gamification with assessments, so maybe you want them to fill out a certain assessment quiz questions and then give certain badges or reward. Besides the certificate, that is not something that LearnWorlds that has incorporated the gamification of it. What it really does well is using assessments as a professional learning platform. Every feature that is incorporated into LearnWorlds is really here for you to make the best program possible for your students and really help them internalize the content rather than just training through something and then forgetting the information. There's a lot of interactive features in here. The other thing too that I want to mention, if you're planning on creating an assessment that is like a branched assessment, like branched logic or an adaptive assessment based on their answers, if you answer A, show them this question or take them here. And if they answer that, take them here, or, answer or ask them to answer this question. That is also something that LearnWorlds probably isn't a good fit for. And I mentioned that because I had someone ask to create that as a lead magnet. So they wanted a quiz on the front end that's a lead magnet quiz or assessment that assesses whether or not someone's ready to sell their business. And so based on their answers, he needed the assessment to adapt and show them different questions. And I was like, that's probably, you want something else for that, a more custom built assessment for that. But overall, LearnWorlds really gives you a lot of features where you can create complex assessments that go beyond just like a simple quiz, if that's something that you want to create. And with the AI features, it's really there to help you create that a lot faster. So if you found this video helpful in terms of coming to a decision whether LearnWorlds is a good platform for you, you can head down to the description and use my LearnWorlds link to sign up for your free trial. And full disclosure, it is a link where I receive a small amount of commissions, but I've been using this platform for years, and that's not why I'm doing this. I'm really just advocating for this platform as an e-learning and course platform because I think it's really one of the best out there on the market.